It does go something like that. I don't know how close we have to hold them. Well, today we've got Juzzy and Johnno.
Juzzy and Johnno.
How you going, Burso?
Good afternoon.
You're going to make this so weird, aren't you, Justin? Hold it up. There you go. What are you... What is wrong with you?
What's the old adage? What's the old adage?
He looks like Rippy Bobby. You're not even on camera. Why are you acting so weird?
This is how I normally
You
am.
need to put the microphone in your mouth.
He's like,
It's not a lollipop.
He's got his hands moving like he's Ricky Bobby. He doesn't know what to do with his hands. I'm like, mate, it's a microphone. Talk into it. Good to go. It's really not that hard. What's wrong with you at the moment? I've been talking shit all day, and then you're just like, yeah. But we're not even on camera. That doesn't even make sense.
Nah, well, so you don't understand if you're a red board surfer, mate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. No, a bit of trash. That's all right. I'll see where you're going with that.
Yep. Fitzy knows.
Anyway, what have we got today? We're at URBNSURF, Tullamarine, near the airport.
Got to say, it is quite cold today in the water.
Was pretty brutal. My hands were killing me. My head was burning. You got a good wetsuit though today.
No, I didn't get a good wetsuit today. I got I don't know, I think it was like a strainer for, you could have used it as a sieve. It was horrible.
It's been good so far. We've worked out that wetsuits have got like flaps on the back. I don't know if it's new technology. We never had that when I was a kid, but that's good. I don't know if it's like some weird stuff, but the water stops getting in. We had booties. I had booties. That's first for me. You'd run booties, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And Justin, feel free to just do something that makes you less weird. What is he? He's freaking me out.
I just realised, Burso, that your tracksuit camouflages you with the waves.
It does, and it's matching. And I've got like old man shoes. They're Velcro.
Where are they from, by the way, those shoes?
Kmart. They definitely Kmart.
Actually, well, I don't know. I actually got them from my old man. I think he got them online. I think they're like Temu. Temu shoes. And then he was like, they don't fit me. Do you want them?
I can't see why he'd want to part with those shoes, man. They look marvellous.
They didn't fit
really
him. Literally the only reason. Otherwise, they would have been his prized possession for a bit.
It's got a great big Velcro. You're talking about flaps now. You've got flaps on your mind, clearly, because the shoes are the most remarkable flap I've ever seen on a shoe. They're not like your traditional Barter Scout, like back in the day, or even the double Velcro comb over, if you like, on the shoe. You've got a more conventional, I suppose you'd say, high fade of the shoe world on your foot right now. It completely encompasses the entire upper arch of your foot, which would hopefully provide you with appropriate support. And they're very white and clean at the bottom, so I don't know that they've had a lot of... they've seen a lot of battle.
Where have you been for this whole podcast? Yeah. You've literally described things
He's just literally come in with a massive value adage.
I think it's the old adage. It's the old adage. If the shoe fits.
That was a great, remarkable single entendre, I think you'd almost say that. You've done very well, Fitzy.
I was wondering where the adage was going with it. I was wondering where he was going to jump in with it. Anyway, we're here doing surfing. This is what are we in? We're 3.5 minutes in.
Last 8 weeks we've been coming here on a Monday and surfing at URBNSURF. Fake waves.
Fake wave.
Well, are they fake waves? They're man-made.
They're waves. Man-made
Wavefall.
waves. That's probably a better way of doing it.
Do you want to say something about shrimp to make you less weird, Justin? Or
Nah, it's cold in the water today.
I don't know how shrimp would go in that.
Take the
In that
microphone
water.
off him, please.
The shrimp wouldn't survive in the water. See, the thing with shrimp, they need to be in 21 degrees Celsius water. And they just wouldn't survive. And we nearly didn't survive in these conditions today. Catching the waves, penultimate session out there. And
here we go.
what
Look
we're
at it
doing,
go now.
party waves. And
Party waves.
it was just bedlam. It was just crashing into each other. Fitzy took me out about 3 times. Burso, probably about the same. Come out of the water with an arm injury. Couldn't feel my fingers.
where'd that come from? What's going on with these two blokes?
So what's been happening for the last 8 weeks? Why are we... You don't need to go into detail, but what's the whole purpose? Were you a surfer before you came here 8 weeks ago, or anybody?
I was not.
This is so painful.
I was not a surfer. Sorry, I coughed into the mic. I think that's a faux pas in the podcasting world, and I don't want to come along.
There we go. There we've all had a go at it.
Yeah,
My editor will take
now
that
I feel
out.
better. Thanks for including me in that, and it makes me feel more whole. But the no, I have not. I've surfed once. I've dabbled in boogie boarding, but nothing quite as emotionally. Well, what would you say? It really was like they say in the old adage. The water is a man's best friend and also his foe.
Is that a new adage or old adage?
It's pretty recent.
I think it's a very, very recent adage. In fact, it was coined by a bloke. Looks
Johnno.
a lot like me. Yeah, quite recently.
Johnno did that.
Yeah, that's right. No. In all seriousness, it was a very good session today. It was very chilly. I don't know that my wetsuit was made out of the same holy cheese kind of wetsuit of Fitzy's, because mine seemed to retain the water well, especially the urine. That was particularly.
Didn't they give you a briefing like, do not pee in the wetsuits?
Oh no, I had a dry suit.
Oh, so you peed in a dry suit?
Initially
Isn't that
it
the
was
idea?
a dry-
No.
Initially it was a dry suit. Now it's a wetsuit on inside out now.
Well, anyway, yeah, but I don't know. I pity the fool that has to put it on next. But it's like the adage says: if the suit fits,
Where
piss in it.
The adage says.
That's all I have to say about that. But I think
Nice, Johnno. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So, for a bit more context, we're out here doing Waves of Wellness.
Oh, good.
Yep, we're out here
There you
doing
go.
Waves
That's
of
not bad.
Wellness.
7
It's a
minutes in.
program.
7 minutes
7
in.
minutes
At,
and we've
Urban
finally got to
Surf.
what we're doing here.
Yep. 8-week program, pairing up mental health, group sessions, and learning to surf.
How have you found it?
Wet.
I thought he was going to go with a shit joke about Google Maps.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I knew neither was going to be a good option.
No, it's been really good. I've really enjoyed it. It's a good little ready reckoner for, mental health stuff. You think you're across it, but, you get skill fade. And then it's been a good opportunity to sort of refresh and then marry it up with learning to surf. And, yeah, the two go well together.
Do you think you'll continue surfing?
Yeah, for sure. I've really enjoyed it. I found the craziness of life sort of slows down and goes away when you're just focusing on trying to catch a wave and get yourself in the right spot to catch a wave. Whether it's at the wave pool here, it's a bit easier, or out in the ocean, it's the same thing. And you just, it's like a lot of hobbies, I guess. You can kind of pause all your life's problems and just focus immediately on what you're doing. And no, it's been really good.
For people that haven't been here, how would you describe this?
Sorry about that. Working out these new microphones, so you may have heard a lot of wind noise in the background, that sort of stuff there. If that was annoying compared to what it's going to be in the future, because I've adjusted some of the levels, if you can let me know if you prefer background noise or if you don't want it anymore. Also, apologies, because obviously this is an absolute rock show of a thing, trying to put 4 people together with 2 microphones. But, yeah, it's been fun so far. We're back on again.
So do I need to ask that question again?
Yeah,
Burso
go again.
decided to go off and have a savvy and turned it off.
What's that?
Savvy pasta 15-17% off. What is it? I don't know it. I never know it.
We're sponsored. We have an affiliate code, Imposter, and it gives you 17% off. And Fitzy absolutely brutalizes it every time. He makes up different words. Probably why we never make any income. It's like,
What is it again? What is it?
Imposter.
Imposter savvy.
The brand is Savvy. Imposter is a
Discount.
people probably think that we plan these ads to sound terrible, so you remember them, but actually,
can I ask them what is Savvy? What do they produce as a Virgin member of this podcast?
yeah,
Clothing line.
no, it's a beverage. It's actually
Okay.
It's an energy beverage without any of the nasties.
Righto.
There's
Very
like
good.
nootropics and stuff. It's,
Where are they? Where can I buy it?
you can grab one from my house next time. I'll
right.
give you. Usually, if you're on the podcast, we just give you Savvies,
Oh,
and then
right.
people are like, "Oh, these are actually quite nice." But there's like bars and there's calm water and a bunch of other shit as well.
Order them and put
Well, that was what I was-
Imposter in as the code and get 17% off.
That's what I was thinking.
There
I
he
might
is.
do.
There he is.
Yeah, right.
silly not to.
But
Good
the old
adage.
adage.
That was a good adage.
Comment from the super coach.
What were you
But
asking
no,
before,
to
Fitzy?
answer Fitzy's question.
What was Fitzy's question?
Fitzy's question was, how would you describe this venue?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Urban
a
Surf in Tullamarine.
yeah, it's a mechanical wave pool. It's quite nice. Obviously, it's in the middle of industrial Melbourne near the airport. But
Well, that's the funny thing about it. It is in an industrial area. So for someone that was thinking of coming here, would you recommend this for kids? Would you recommend it as only if you're a hardcore surfer? Is there anything else here?
yeah, there's a playground.
This
With a
is,
swing.
you're about to go time out, aren't you? Look at him. He's like it's been.
There's a playground with swing, but no, it's they've set it up. You know, to sort of mimic a nice sort of little tropical getaway. You know, they've got a sandy area. They've got nice grassed areas,
Seagulls.
deck chairs. There's a restaurant here. But yeah, the focus is definitely on surfing in the man-made pool.
Seagulls. Dave's like, wow. Like, we have seagulls anyway, mate. Seagulls are everywhere, those little
No, but
bastards.
see, you've got Tullamarine Airport, just I assume over there, and I would have thought if the birds are taking off, they'd have to be over there. About
I mean,
a
yeah, we're
kilometre.
one bird strike away from shutting the place down, aren't we?
Yeah, we just need Sully to put himself in the middle of urban surf, and that would really make the whole thing. I mean, it's no Hudson River, but you know, it's a body of water. It's an isthmus, not too far from where we're sitting. And in fact, you might even be able to hear the waves in the background. Perhaps it might be a 747 engine. Who knows these crazy days? Who knows?
It's quite an impressive. It is quite an impressive place, though, when you walk in, though, isn't it?
It is. It really is. I've never set foot in this venue before, and it strikes me as how incredible it is in that it's enclosed in such a way that you are safe. You're away from the elements, aside from the cold water itself, and you can just really have the ability to just have a good think while you're out on the waves, despite the coldness of it. And really take in the atmosphere of everyone around you in a positive and friendly environment.
I'm going to send a link from this to Nick, the dude who runs Wow, and he'll be like, Dave spoke more when you put a microphone in front of him than for 8 weeks beforehand. He's going to be livid.
I take it none of you guys have been to a wake park before.
I've been wakeboarding in Penrith, Cable
Yeah.
Park or whatever
the
it is.
cable park. Yeah. So it's like that, but for surfing.
So there's in Geelong, this is a while away, but there's that massive big quarry. They're going to turn that into a lake. I'm going to try and get a cable park over there. It'd be sick.
Oh, awesome.
It'll be like, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's unrelated in the future. But
Very good value adage.
do you actually think that's a value adage or just, the Germans?
Oh well,
What does that actual siren mean? Do we need to leave?
I bet you the noise cancelling's probably turned that off. They can't even hear
There
it.
was a siren.
End of the session, boys. End of the session.
What's
So
it
you
actually
gotta-
mean, though?
You got to pay again. Oh, it means you got 2 more sets left of waves.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, that's what that was.
Did you actually not know that?
Be of 8 weeks and only found that out
I'm not
today.
very bright. I'll say that. I mean, if you've listened to what I've said so far, that's probably evident. But oh no, I wasn't aware that it meant you had 2 left. I thought it was just a usual warning for me of shit behaviour. Get out of wherever you are. The jacks are coming.
I did.
We did get in a bit of trouble today, didn't we? Like it was every week. It's been no, you can't be here. You have to move. Today was a bit of a funny one where I spent the first half of the session. You guys need to move over. You're in the way.
Oh,
They did, but then they just gave up.
They just gave up and left us.
Yeah, they gave up and they said, you know what? There's only 4 of them out the back. They seem to be okay. And then we just went with party waves. Party waves was
party waves.
Party waves.
Yeah, I heard party waves. I thought I don't know what this is, but I'm jumping on board.
That's exactly what it was.
one
all
job, Justin.
Yeah, what's that?
You did well when you said something.
Thanks, mate. I'm trying my
about. There's a
best.
statue over there
Mate,
in the corner.
yeah, maybe Dave needs to hold the microphone.
Ooh.
You need to jam in his beard.
How's it feel, Dave?
Yeah, well, it's
It's a lot
like
of pressure, isn't it?
I'm holding a miniature Cossack. I mean, this
And now Dave's not holding it in front of it.
this microphone, the top of the microphone, the buffer, if you like, looks like a Cossack
You have to describe
thing,
the whole thing.
like a hat.
Yeah, so for the listeners, you're obviously not aware, we've got these mini little handheld microphones, but then Burso's got these little Russian hats that are very soft to touch. So
you making this an ASMR podcast?
Making it, yeah.
They feel like a soft pet rabbit that's been well cared for.
They call them a dead cat in the business, Matt, or a windsock for people that are at home. I don't know why we're
Soft
talking
cat.
about them. Second.
No, I like it. It'd be if you're a mouse working for the Russians back in Stalingrad, you'd be well and truly nice and toasty warm back in those little, sort of the campsites there. It'd be lovely.
All right, there is a little bit of there is some value added, some Russian talk. Where's all this come from?
Well, I mean, I didn't
Well,
invent
we
the
gotta
thing,
go
so
there.
I'm just holding it. But I mean, it's in. Yeah, it's obviously very, very important. It's a cold day, and even the microphones need warmth. So think about the microphones, Fitzy. I mean, you're sitting back there, you're warm, you've got your beanie on, you've got your warm jacket. Can we please talk about that?
No, it's not on at the moment.
No. Love the days.
Okay, yeah,
we're
Fitzy's
here.
sitting here
We're here
without
at
his warm jacket on. He's
We're here at a
just naked.
multi-million-dollar facility where people like man-made waves that have barrels and different settings and all that sort of stuff. And
He's
then,
impressed with the microphone.
isn't he? Yeah. Well, Justin's like, sorry, can we just stop and pay attention to the 13-cent thing that's attached to the top of the microphone? And you ask Dave about the mic, and Dave's like, DJI is a brand. It, you can do this, just that. I'm just like, wow.
Well, let's not get caught up in the minutiae of it. It is what it is, and I think we're all impressed by it. And sorry about that. I think, Justin, you're pretty impressed as well.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there. One thing. Fitzy.
Why we need to film these.
Fitzy was alluding to earlier about some of the troubles that can happen in group therapy sessions, which is essentially what this Waves of Wellness program's been. So obviously having a lot of people participating, from emergency services, they're pretty familiar with the concept of mental health, and being proactive, doing mental health first aid and the like. And part of that, involves having your own one-on-one therapy sessions with mental health professionals. And usually in these sessions, it sounds pretty selfish, but you make it all about you, and people get into the habit of just talking about themselves. But then the flip side, when you come and do these group sessions, you then have to share it around with everyone else. And there's been a couple people, Burso is one of them, who just love to talk and go off on tangents. But Burso was good value. There was another participant who would just come right out of left field and really blow your mind with some of the things that they were saying. Yeah.
It's all about perspective, mate.
Yeah. And
I'm sitting right here, mate. And if you're going to start talking about Chris's flaps again.
So, I mean, we've been doing this every Monday. Are you going to try and set this as a thing? So Mondays from now and maybe continuing forward, the program's gone. Are you going to try and think maybe next Monday might go to Torquay or
you say the thing that you don't have to worry about at the wave pool is what the conditions are like. But
or sharks. That's a lot of people's fears.
Well, yeah, but
no sharks here.
But in the ocean there are sharks, but there are also different surf conditions. So you got to figure out what the swell's doing, how big it is, where the wind's blowing from, all that sort of thing.
What was doing here.
Yeah. And it's on repeat.
Yeah, so you're probably not going to commit to going surfing on the same day every week. You're going to really read the conditions and make your life fit around the conditions to go surfing, I'd say.
What did they say the lessons were? A lesson in a surf's like $140 for each one. So what we were doing was would have been $140 because we got the Harry and Shay were doing the instructor stuff with us. But also I think the gang went afterwards last time. It was $40. So $40 for an hour session. That's probably on you whether you want to work out if that's worth it to you or not, but you will catch waves and you do know what the waves are beforehand. And generally people seem to be riding the waves on their own. I think it appears to be, what do you reckon? They have 10 max and then there's 10 waves in a set. So you'd probably, you get 1 or 2 waves each.
Well, today I heard the guys talking. They weren't putting as many waves through the pool today like they were in previous weeks because there wasn't so many people here. So they were only doing smaller sets.
Oh, would it make them, it'd be easier to get out because the sets are going down. Just jump straight in that rip like a bunch of bad boys like we are.
That had nothing to do with the potential for poor behaviour by the participants on that they cut it back. Was it Fitzy or was that just happenstance that they decided to?
No, apparently it was just because there wasn't as many people in there today. And I don't think, even on the days that we've had, more people here, earlier on, April when we started, it was warmer weather. It still wasn't crazy. There wasn't, heaps of people here. So there's plenty of space. And they have sessions they go for an hour. So you can always book in whatever you want. But
just make sure you don't go when Fitzy goes, because a direct quote, if I can't get up, I'm not letting you get up.
True. I do like to sabotage. If I'm not having fun, none of you are.
There's different waves. What is there? There's a beginner, there's cruiser, there's barrel, but it's very loosely termed barrel. I think it goes for about 4 seconds at best. I don't know what the other ones are,
I don't think we've seen the barrel setting.
I think they did it right at the start. Well, because they said they go through the different waves when they do the intro. Like, not the intro, the warm-up at the start. They do a bunch of different of the waves.
They're all all the sessions are on the website.
Do you know what the website is? You're going to go with a little...
Urban Surf. Just Google, and it's not spelled urban. It's spelled URBN.
Because it's gangster like that. One thing I was going to bring up was obviously this was a grant from DVA. Everyone hates DVA, so enjoy it because you got something out of DVA. But so DVA actually gave a grant to Waves of Wellness and Invictus to do this. That's how it happened. I was talking to Dave, Johnno, DJ. I was talking to DJ about it.
All over the place, so
yeah. Whatever. I don't know. He's undercover. He'd have a shave and I'd have no idea who the bloke was.
I now you told him what it looked like.
Yeah, and then what was I talking about then?
You were talking about the grant.
Oh, yeah. So the grant was on there, but it's interesting between the cops and veterans. It's like DVA have so many different programs and stuff, and there's just nothing for coppers. It's like it's crazy. Like Tim was saying before, he'd been on the list for about a year to try and get on for a first responder one, to try and get a class for that. And he just couldn't because it was obviously flat out. Everybody wants to try and do something. And then, but then he jumped on because it was a veteran one. And he's like, yep, sweet, you'll be able to just jump the queue and got on board. But, it's funny how much actual funding and programs and stuff are out there for people. If you actually wanted to do it and you look into it, there's heaps of stuff out there. But, everyone just gives.
This program was Waves of Wellness for anyone that's listening that is a veteran. Type that in, Waves of Wellness, and see if there's something in your local area, because it's not just at Urban Surf in Melbourne. They do them all over the country. Isn't that right, Chris?
Yeah, so there was one, they did another one with like the Commandos up in Sydney. They had like a commando only one. I think they were doing that with the Commando Trust. But these are pilot sessions, so ideally they're going to start rolling them out around the rest of the country. And I don't know if they're going to do this one again same time next year, or if we're going to do another one maybe at the end of the year. I wonder if it's space related as well, like whether it's, like over summer it'll be pretty flat out. So I
can't
just wonder.
surf in space, Burso.
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it. We'll go past the aquarium on the way home, mate. I know you're getting touchy. But yeah, so like I just wonder if there's that whole thing as well where like they need to make money. So if over summer they might not be able to do it, but geez, it was brutal in the cold today.
Most of the time it's been pretty good. Today was probably the worst one, and I think today paired up with the shite wetsuit that I had today didn't help. But yeah, I don't know.
It's much.
There's an old adage.
Good way to get you out of the house, and it is an old adage of
poor workman always blames his tools or her tools or their tools.
Well, my tool wasn't doing much today.
Evidently, it shrunk away from this conversation real quick. Geez. But just to allude to what you were saying, Chris, I'd agree 100% with.
Hang on a minute, the wind's
What is going on?
Play a game.
Just having a laugh.
Found out I was going to have a chat seriously for a second, and
Yeah,
just
serious.
decided
Go for it now.
blow away.
We do like to interrupt a serious spot.
Oh, look, I won't punctuate it for too long with seriousness, but the what you're alluding to before, Just, was that if you are sort of seeing somebody, a professional, a counsellor or a psychologist or whomever, and you, it's always a one-on-one, and it's very much egocentric or focused on the individual, versus having to get yourself out of bed, drive to drive to this wonderful destination and then listen to other people as well who, until you actually get here and start talking with others and hearing some stories, you kind of are used to just talking in isolation. So to have a broader spectrum and an appreciation for, I'm not the only one that sort of might be feeling like this about that, or whatever the situation may be, it's really good to be able to communicate on that level and to listen to other people where it's non-judgmental.
100%. And, one of the best things has been perspective, like you can really take...
Ignore Juzzy whilst he goes on a rant about talking about some other people in the crew, inappropriate, just forwarding. Daddage. And we're back. Not bad, a daddage. Yeah.
Plenty of dadages about.
I think actually doing it as a crew too, like to have driving in and out. Why we didn't grab you, I don't know. I feel bad.
Yeah, I live in the same town as two of these other
to be fair,
hosts.
I only just found this out. I just
feel like the
before,
fat kid that's not being picked for the football team right now, literally.
We live in the same suburb.
Yeah, probably the same estate.
You even know my house, man. So
I'm like, we're literally all going to drive.
You knew. I didn't know. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah,
we would have, Papey wouldn't have got a...
No, you wouldn't
have. A ride in.
My road rage might have given you the shits a little bit.
We've all got the road rage. We've all got road rage.
Fitzy commentates on everybody's driving on the way in. And me going on a rant. Ignore that part. Moving on to where we're not upsetting people's feelings again. And...
Because I didn't know what slow TV was.
When I was a teenager, there was a show called Cheese TV. Do you remember Cheese TV?
Oh, yeah, Cheese TV. Cheese TV was the bee's knees. Best cartoons ever.
They had X-Men, Batman Adventures.
I know we're talking shit again, but back to sort of what we're roughly talking about earlier. I was just thinking, because how we lost. You used to be able to go out. You'd go out after a shift and you'd debrief and you'd have a beverage or two. And you just unwind about your shift. And that's all been fucking booted now. They're all like, nah, don't want any of this. We don't want to encourage drinking. I'm like, no, nobody said knock off, do 7 shots of tequila and then start a bar fight over Bundy. We're literally just saying debrief, chill out, talk about your shift before you go home and then everything's all good to go.
So I've had that in Fireys as well. I caught right at the tail end of when they'd have knock-off beers.
Times.
Knock-off beers, they call them burn beers if you had a big job.
Really?
If you had a big job, you'd all, the end of your second day shift, have a...
Says the drunk over here, just pick up in the corner.
Have a couple beers and, debrief, and it was awesome. And then they phased that out pretty quick and, clamped right down on having no alcohol at the station whatsoever. And, yeah, it's a shame. It's a good way to build that camaraderie and it was a mental health check-in. But
I wonder if we could do change it. Obviously, they're not going to start encouraging you to get on the piss anymore. But if there's some other thing you can do where they do
like keeping shrimp.
I mean,
here we go.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very cathartic.
I mean, potentially. No, as in
you can be a god.
But just
fried shrimp.
Sports and stuff afterwards. If we could have surfing after or doing whatever else it is, actually doing something else. Because if you're going to go and spend 3 hours at the pub and then instead they could be like, hey, why don't you guys go for a walk afterwards or go for a run or do whatever? It's why is that not a social norm anymore where you could go and have beers and then have a yarn, but you wouldn't just go down to the park and go for a stroll after your shift and do whatever. It's almost like if you went down, if you were to tell your partner or whatever, I'm just having a debrief, we've had a pretty tough shift, we're just going to have a beverage and then we'll come home, that'd be accepted. But if you're we're going to go for a walk around the park and have a chat, you'd be like, yeah, righto, weirdo, just come home. It's weird that that's not normal, even though that'd be better for you to go for a walk and talk as opposed to whatever.
Do you think it might be generational?
Could be.
I asked that question with my own answer in mind. I think it might be being and having been in the police force for over 25 years. That was the way it was done back in the day. If you in inverted quotation marks, And you know what? That really does work until it doesn't, and until, you know, someone might start to fray a bit around the edges, and then that can be problematic for not just the group but the person. But
but it was. I always used to find that you'd go there, and if like somebody just had like, you know, you just had one, and then you're fine. Then you look at little Timmy's in the corner. He's just necked 7 beers. You're like, he's obviously not well, but you'd know that because you could see. You'd be like, that's weird. He hasn't said anything. He's just drowning in beers. That way you'd have a heads up. But
I think, sorry, like you were saying, like it is slightly generational. Like you're saying, there's that generational where probably blokes our age and older always had those beers and things after work or Friday boozer drinks. Like definitely for army, we always had Friday boozer, all that sort of stuff. And like, you know, you didn't stay every week, but most weeks you'd stay for a couple of beers. Sometimes you'd stay for quite a lot longer, but that was a sort of thing. But nowadays, I think they've got away from that. Things have gone a little bit more PC where they don't want to anytime they talk about alcohol, it's bad. And then it's also, there's none of those social gatherings that are happening, only small ones. But now you've got the young ones that are coming through that have grown up with mobile phones and things. And so they don't want to hang around with people that they're working with anyway. They don't really want to be with them. They'd rather go back to their phone life straight after anyway. So you don't really, I don't know, you don't have that social side of things probably like you used to. I don't think that it's even close to how it used to be work-wise. So.
No, it's not. But that's the thing. We haven't replaced anything with a. You know, you look at now, like people they're only staying in the job for a year, 2 years, and they're all leaving on work cover. They're all burnt out, and you're like, well, because nobody's dealing with anything anymore. Like, you know, you've got more access to psych services, you've got more access to everything else. But half the time, you go and speak to a psych, and you'll say something to them, and you look like. You actually tell them about something that you've been to, they start looking at you scared. Like they're like, oh, it's almost like you're like, oh, I'm doing them a disservice by passing this on. I might just keep this PG, keep this PC because they're obviously not coping with this very well.
And you shouldn't have to do that either. And that's, I think that's where the after work debriefs really were beneficial to many, because if you're able to manage that, and it was an opportunity amongst people that you trusted, people that were probably at the incident or for the week, and it's not just a sad, let's get, not necessarily just sad, let's see how many bottoms of glasses we're able to find. It can actually
sometimes
be,
you did though. Sometimes you did, and cool.
For sure. And that can be good. And you're with people, like I say, that were most likely at an incident, and sometimes even, you know, having a couple of drinks might sort of free you up a little bit to be more conversant, whereas you wouldn't if you were stone cold sober. You know, the truth serum, as the old adage goes. But, so I think it's about the management of that.
Play adage bingo soon.
But one of the best things that was said to me about dealing with critical incident stress and, you know, post-incident trauma was that there's no right way, there's no wrong way. Basically, it's just a time frame. So if it's, you know, a couple of days, you're still ruminating on it and it's hitting you at random hours that don't seem right, like in the middle of sleep or, you know, in the shower or in mid-conversation to your partner, that's okay. It doesn't matter. But if that lingers and it's like the 2-week mark and you're still having that, then that's when you're not really processing it. And like, I guess like old school, you know, having beers and talking about it with your mates, you know, that's I guess an area of comfort for you know, your typical sort of male way to deal with things. But really, I think the key things, just get good sleep, keep fit, active, you know, do your workouts, don't just fucking mellow out and sit on the couch and become a recluse, you know. And
why are you looking at me when you're saying that?
yeah.
Johnno's over here ticking off all the things.
All the boxes ticked right there, my friend. I'm very good at thinking it and telling other people about it, but I'm not very good at doing it myself when the spotlight's on me.
Well, yeah, and you know, like 100%. Like I went through a bit of a tough time the last couple of years, just cumulative stresses, a bit of work, a bit of personal life, etc. And like I fucking really embraced mental health and really got into it and was, you know, just fucking lapping up as much as I could.
Edit that out. There's like some swearing.
Can
we edit that? Is there a pause button? Or?
No.
Oh, shit. Fuck, sorry.
We haven't I don't know that we've had a C-bomb, but feel free to not try and leave
drop
that
the C-bomb.
just to prove a point.
Well, I can't drop the C-bomb. There's no sea. We're at a wave pool, no ocean.
What? You're right. You just have an epiphany. What's going on?
Climaxed.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Just got weird. Who? Johnno. My thing is we used to have it like, so that's the old way of doing it. You go and sink beers, you'd have a chat, you do whatever. But I don't know that there is a replacement now. You know, like everyone's disappearing. They're on their phone. They're doing whatever else it is. It's like, well, what are we doing about it? It's like literally.
You could all get together and have a mozza, but that's not cool.
Mozzas are great.
Maybe more party waves.
Well, that's the thing though. Like, I mean, it's funny. Like we came in here and we go to do the, you do the chats and you do whatever. And like half the time here, we're just like, no, I'm not doing it because I'll lose my license or I'll do whatever. I can't fly because you'll say I'm sad or whatever. So we were very reluctant to it. But then it was funny where you'd see the boys out surfing and you're like, I haven't seen the lads any other time having fun. And you're like, you look at all these guys that do go surfing and they're doing whatever, like it's great for them. But it's just trying to get somebody to start something in the first place seems to be the drama.
I'd agree with that. I think starting at a start point, I'm going to rephrase that, to actually just kick something off and just make it your own, even if it's a local thing, if you know, at a fire station, at a police station, whatever, make it your own kind of thing. Like, for example, if you were to say, okay, we're going to start a tradition at the end of every night shift, those in the PSA or those who are at the police station, if you want, always make it optional. If you want, we're going to have barbecue like we used to do by the Yarra, and this time we'll play pickleball, or this time we'll play bocce. And if you don't want to play, you don't have to play. If you don't want to eat a sausage, you don't have to eat a sausage, whatever it might be. But just have that option there of somewhere to go to debrief. And, it, you know, if you want to BYO, so be it. If you don't, fine too. But I think the most important thing is it's optional and that it's valuable to the crew.
It's optional, and if you don't come, then we won't speak to you again.
Yeah, we'll never talk to you again. Yeah. And we'll talk about you. Well, it's like that old adage, if you're not here, you're going to get talked about.
Yeah. Good adage.
It doesn't have to be work either, right? Like, you know, you guys are saying
you just
very much
anyone.
Yeah, but you know, and you know, if it's your family, your kids, you know, cool, get out, go for a walk with your dog. Even if you're just by yourself, you know, like just go out and do something that you can control and influence, you know, like a skill mastery or something. Just something that makes the white noise of life die down and you just purely focused on what you're doing, and then have small wins. Like we saw it with one of the guys who I may or may not be looking at, you know, on one of the weeks may or may not have sounded pretty
I don't know if he's targeting you. I didn't want it to be me, so I put it on you.
He may have sounded pretty, you know, glum, pretty grim, and then
it was evaluated.
Yeah, and then when he got out in the water, and you know, was having small wins on the surfboard, like you couldn't wipe the smile off his face. So it was like, see, good one, dickhead. You can be happy, but
yeah, sucked in. You can be happy.
Yeah,
we had we're doing volleyball on Wednesday nights as well, and like those lads do chocks on Tuesdays, and then obviously they do their camps on the weekends and stuff, or whatever it is they do. They're little bit of a whack overnighters or whatever you chocks do, but but it's funny because they're socialising on Wednesday now where they do the volleyball, and now they do park runs on Saturday. And some of the other boys have done park runs on Saturday, and then we had obviously on the weekend we did the boys did the marathon, so they've started doing stuff that way. It's just funny trying to find something to get the lads to start and then consistently do it. But when I was in
there's a couple of more fellas, by the way, for your Surf Coast Century team.
Oh yeah, Johnno's DJ is good for.
I can see 3 members right now.
Piss off! You're not
talk about this more. What
I'm supporting. No, I'm a supporter. I'm not doing it. That's a 20.
You've got to beat Dave.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. If Dave's in, I've got to beat Dave's time.
Dave will win. Dave's going to crush you.
Not this Dave. There's another Dave.
What is it?
It's a run. It's a surf.
Questions later.
It's a surf.
Ultra marathon. Yeah.
But we can do teams.
I'm telling you, you want like a team thing where you guys will all feel awesome about yourself. Just get there and do it.
That ain't it.
It's
25K each.
I guarantee you, like at the end of the day, you'll be pretty damn stoked with yourself.
We're like, hey, Dave, we all quit. We're like, no, actually, Dave and I won't quit because if Dave does it 25K, I'll have to do it. You can't think quietly on the podcast, Fitzy. It doesn't work. It just doubles down. Fair call.
Man, I don't even drive 25K to Walker's Donuts to get my strawberry and cream. I don't know how I'd go with an ultra marathon.
You could eat all the donuts in Walker's.
I already do. Have a look at me.
Get around the beaties. Are you what do you reckon, lads? If there's another ways of wellness, is it worthwhile getting involved? Is the surfing a thing? Is this venue a thing? Would you pay $40 to come on your own?
to
I'm
wage
assuming
around
that's
us.
it. Yeah. No, or just to like come and surf at this venue, for one. And then secondly, would you take part in the Waves of Wellness again?
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's more.
For an actual session?
Yeah, I think it's
talking
like
about
I think it's
$100 for a
like
session,
80,
and
90
like,
bucks. Yeah.
that's the good thing about it though is if you come here a surfer, you're guaranteed waves, and you don't have too many people because you got to book your session times. It's not like you just rock up in the morning and everyone just rocks up at the same time and you all go in. It's sort of session time, so you can. You're never going to have too many people here. So, yeah, it's an awesome venue. I'm really impressed with this place. It's cool.
How do you reckon we would have got more? Because there was obviously 4 spots that were still empty. How would we have got more people involved, do you reckon?
Exposure. I wasn't aware of it until we bumped into each other, Chris, and you mentioned it. And I think if more people hear about how positive it's been for the participants, and the more people talk about how good it is, and believe that, and it really was, then I think the more people would actively be involved. And I'd like to be able to recommend it, and I would recommend it to anyone who's in the emergency services / military sphere. Absolutely.
How would you find veterans? Because that's my biggest drama is like, how do you get into contact with them?
It's hard, isn't it? Because we're all veterans. We've all got veteran mates, but none of us talk to each other. We catch up with each other like we're old mates. Every 10 years you might run across and nothing changes, but you don't reach out to them ever and tell them about this stuff.
Perhaps it might be a situation where you could just even depending on whether you're still in contact with the people from your old work group, if you're in the emergency services state level, or even just old buddies from the Army, Air Force, Navy, and you just out of the blue, it's not a bad idea anyway to just call up old mates and go, hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you for a while. What are you up to? Gauge what their thoughts on the program might be, or even better, this might be good for you, or do you know somebody else who might benefit from it? So I'm sure we've all got just maybe even one friend that, if each of us were able to do that, then we'd have another course ready to go tomorrow.
So the drama I have is, if you speak to RSLs, they're generally a demographic. It's not many RSLs that are generally like have a bunch of younger people involved. It's good when you've got the different ESOs, like veteran gaming is good because they've got a younger sort of crowd because it's very online, but then they also don't leave their mum's basement. So it's hard to get them out to do physical activity. And then you've got, word of mouth is fine. Facebook, though, I don't know anyone that uses Facebook, but we have groups because that's the only place you can put an activity on. You can use Pineapple Express and stuff like that, but then DVA aren't going to use that because they're not really well supported on that sort of thing. So it's, you can get to veterans by using funny meme pages. That'd be the thing. So I wonder if Pineapple Express would do a paid ad for us or something like that. That might be the only sort of thing, but that's where the demographic is. I went on Matty Morris's, and that was sort of the biggest influx I had of people hit me up about Invictus. Was talking to him on there about different stuff. But outside of that, it's just, so DVA, for example, they, due to privacy, can't give you our details. But the funny thing about that as well, in the Geelong Bellarine, for example, there's according to the census, there was about 6,200 and there's only 2,800 are registered with DVA. So DVA can't even speak to veterans because you're not registered. And when they are registered, they won't give you the contact details, so you can't email them about stuff. So it's, everybody's so privacy protected, and then everyone's Instagram is like a Charlie Foxtrot or whatever their name is with a little, anime picture. So it's interesting to try and work out how to speak to veterans. And other than word of mouth, I haven't found anything.
Yeah. I've been over 20 years and only found out about DVA last year. Didn't even know what they were.
Yeah. So there's another thing with like DVA TV. They have it's on YouTube. You've never heard of it, have you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Nobody has. But that's another thing I wouldn't mind speaking to DVA about, maybe not having like 80-year-old people on there. And a lot of it's not about fun. It's like, my knee was here, DVA helped me with this, or my hips were sore, I went and spoke to DVA, they did this, or whatever. Like, none of it's really upbeat, and the algorithm's not really.
What about, I think something that might assist with DVA as well is quashing myths and rumours, or just like a Q&A type thing. And I can't throw my hand up and say I know, because this is the first time I've heard about it when you've just raised it now. But, I mean, my only experience with DVA from having been a reservist is applying for a white card. Was told, no, you can't get one. I was like, how does that work? You need to have served 1 day full time with the Australian Army. I'm like, well, hang on a minute. What do you call my basic training? The recruit rifleman course at Puckapunyal in 96. Yeah. What about the 2 weeks so little things like that, maybe a brief explanation from that type of thing might encourage people to actually look at the station.
Well, a bigger thing is national service. There's like these dudes that are like nashos that aren't included and stuff, or they're under some different rule or whatever. It's crazy that like these guys have actually done service like overseas at like Rwanda and stuff like that, and they're just not included. So they've got 3 different legislations at the moment that apparently they're trying to bring together, but the government's never made anything that's looked after you better.
I reckon all the stuff I've accessed is I've just found out through Facebook ads, which is kind of surprising. But there's a program, Veteran Mindfulness. There's this other one to do with keeping active and getting access to an exercise physiologist for weekly sessions. And they just popped up as Facebook ads. But I guess it's hard because they don't really all talk or promote each other. Like going through DVA. Permanent impairment, like they don't recommend any of these wellness programs. You kind of have to stumble across them on your own and commit to them. So they're obviously competing for funding, so they're not going to prop up each other. But it'd be good if there was like at least a website that DVA can promote. Have their different programs you can access there. Maybe
I tried speaking to DVA about it, but they don't want to be seen as the people who control everything, but they're there to assist. They don't want to be seen as like controlling stuff. But I was trying to make it like an e-referral system in the police where you jump on, you put your details in, and then you're like, I'm looking for, and then there's a drop down box and it's like financial advice, or I'm trying to start a business, or I'm trying to do transition, or I'm trying to do study, or I need employment, or I'm having trouble with housing or whatever. And you'd click the drop-down boxes. That way you only fill out your details once, and then the different things that you want access to, you click on them all, and then just sends an automatic email, and then those people contact you about it, which is what we do in the police with the e-referrals. It's like, oh, my kid's got a drug problem, or I need house, or I need whatever. And we literally put their details in, click what they're after, and then those support agencies ring them. But so, I mean, I don't know if somebody can get together and do that. But again, it's one of those things where if I'm saying it's somebody, nobody's going to do it. So whether, Invictus isn't going to do it, but that's because that's not their job either.
No, and can I just add too, I'm coming from a position of ignorance. So I don't know enough about DVA to really be making fair comment on the DVA process. I'm just giving an example of where I'm just your average knucklehead that, did some time with the Army Reserves, got out, but so this isn't me dissing him out fully. It's just about, well, if I can't even get that one simple question answered, then why would I bother with all the other processes involved? And to demystify and to just sort of explain things a little clearer, I think would be a good starting point. As to the promotion of it, that's another difficult thing because everyone uses different social media.
Well, how are they going to tell you? That's what I mean. Like you'd have to actively go and learn it yourself.
Oh yeah, and you'd expect
coming to find you is not. Really...
and nor would I expect someone to come chasing me for the answers. That's up to me as the individual to go looking for it. No, I don't expect that it should be any other way.
A lot of people don't think that way, though.
Well, that's
It's like, why didn't DVA find me at my house that they didn't know that I was at?
Yeah, exactly. Why didn't they? Well, because they don't know, because you don't tell them. And I think that might be a reluctance on people to ask for help, firstly, which is understandable. But my attitude is you can't expect whatever it might be, assistance with housing or assistance with your own mental health. It's not just some shining light will come onto you and people will suddenly realise that that's what you require. You kind of need to be a bit proactive and not just expect and sit back and hope that someone's going to come with some panacea to fix everything. Do a bit of proactivity yourself.
Not a bad adage. Another thing that I've found is I assumed that the Army told DVA that I'd got out. I was just like, well, I've gone out of Army. Automatically, Army would have told DVA, but they don't. There's a privacy thing where the Army doesn't. Once you're out, the Army's like, no, we never tell anybody about anything. They hide your med docs, they do all sorts of stuff, and then afterwards, you've got to apply to get all those sorts of things. But that was an assumption I had that DVA knew about me.
I didn't know that.
And it literally wasn't until I worked for Invictus, and then I was talking to Karen at DVA. And then I was like, she's like, where's your white card? I'm like, what do you mean? I don't have a white card. And she's like, well, are you registered with DVA? She's like, if you don't have a white card, you won't be. I'm like, yeah, the Army would have told you about it. She's like, no. I'm like, so I was literally one of the people she was telling me about down at Bellarine that would have ticked the census saying I'm here, but DVA wouldn't have known.
They're a lot better these days when you're transitioning out of Army or Defence.
Well, they do it at Kapuka now.
Yeah,
once you're in there doing DVA stuff, yeah.
There's a transition support cell that basically anyone who wants to get out or transfer CERCAT has to go through, and they get a complete download of all the info and programs and everything that they should be tapping into.
Good, that's a good value adage. I got none of that. So about you, and you're obviously the same. I left, didn't realise what I was leaving. Didn't realise all they didn't do that. So it's good to hear that they've actually changed some of that stuff.
Yeah, they would have changed so much stuff from when we were in, and the boys before us would have been the same. But then that's your other issue with the RSL is the boys from Vietnam and stuff obviously got treated really badly, and they're now still they're like a time capsule. Not all of them, obviously. Some of them have changed, but there's a real time capsule mentality of everyone still hates us, and the RSL is the only safe place they have, and they've made a little empire, and that's where people have the dramas with different RSLs. They've got like new versus old. Like Lara's great. You've got a younger crew in there, but they still love having the old boys around, but they're also very much trying to get a new crew in. But he's one of only 4 RSLs that are growing in the state, and you're like, well, there's so many RSLs, and they're all going backwards. So like they need to do a large overhaul on there, and then work out the ones that are doing well. What are you doing? What are you doing differently? How do we help you do that elsewhere? But yeah, what are we feeling about Operation Soul Surf? 8 weeks in the real water?
Is it only 8 weeks?
I actually made that up. I don't even know how many weeks it is. But it's a thing. Operation Soul Surf, though, they do it. DVA gave them grants as well to do one there, but they're a lot more first responder focused.
Yeah.
But I think they've also opened it up to anybody else that's got any sort of like PTSD or whatever, like people from car crashes or rape victims. I think there was one in Mornington. That was a day where they had they did immersion, then they did surfing, then they had a sauna that was on the beach, like one of those little cedar circle things where they hung out there and then just had food afterwards. But that was just the day one. But they run actual courses, but I'll find out when the actual courses are for you.
Yeah, no, we'll be on it for sure.
Are you just going to start surfing though?
Yes.
As he nods into the microphone.
Yeah, surfing's sick, brah.
Oh, throw shackers everywhere. All right, lads. You got anything else for us?
I got to go and
any
do
adages?
Landscaping. Got to go and do my landscaping. Order some
Shrimp and business.
Yeah, got to do my shrimp. Got to look after shrimp.
Bit of Bubblegum Shrimp
If
Company.
there's nothing else to take away from listening to this podcast,
I'm just going to press
get
stop
into shrimp.
anytime soon.
Get into shrimp.
He's killing me. What sort of shrimp? Do you want to say some?
There's Cardona and Neo Cardona. Neo Cardona is the beginner friendly.
I'm saying adage. Keep going. Keep talking about your shrimp. Me and Fitzy are just going to talk amongst ourselves over here.
Did you press stop about 2 minutes ago?
I literally didn't.
All right. Oh, yeah. For the listeners.
Any more
get
adages?
Shrimp. And I I'll be sure to get the Imposter podcast to link you to the inaugural shrimp podcast. Baby
Can you
shrimp.
please say something soon? I'm just
Coming
trying to
soon.
stop joking.
It'll be shrimplifying.
Code Imposter,
Oh, wee.
17% off Savvy.
Oh, well, good from you.
And if you want to buy any blue Neo Cardina shrimp off me, I'll sell them to you at a discounted rate, 17% off.
Maracena, St Albans car park.
That's it. That's your sign. That's your sign off, John.
Really?
No, what, you want a better one, or you got another adage?
Oh, no, I'm adaged out. Although if you have episode names, I think adage might be.
Right, out. See ya.
Right. I noticed that we talked about prices a fair bit, but we didn't actually go through them at all because I just made numbers up. I'm just looking up here, just a quick one. You've got multi-packs here. You've got 3 by group beginner surf lessons. That's $279. Group cruiser intermediate lessons are 3. So 3 of them is going to cost you $379. If you start doing your intermediate surf sessions, that's 10 for $8.99. So that's $89 each. Not a cheap game. This 10 advanced surf sessions. That's $9.39. Yeah, and it just gets more expensive from that. But I mean, you can do a yearly, and it looks like it's $4,000, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, it is pretty cool if you go and do it once. They also have 3 Ducks, I think it's called, but that's a restaurant there, which is pretty cool, and you can just go there and watch as well. So if you just know somebody who can surf or wants to do a lesson, it's a pretty cool place to hang out. It's a good place to start. They've got all the wetsuits, booties. They've got obviously lessons, and all the sessions are filmed too. So if you go on there, you can go and check that out afterwards. Anyway, have a good one, gang, and catch you next time.
Just do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Just do it. Simple.
Dreams.